All right, you guys. So we did uh, we did the fish, the 7 fishes for Christmas, and then we did basically the cotoletta alla bolognese, which was the veal cutlet, and we did a couple of like pasta dishes, stuff like that. So like now I'm gonna do a dish that's also very appreciated by people. A lot of times you have to go to the restaurant, but trust me, you can do it at home very easy. And people absolutely love a filet mignon for Christmas. Why not? So I got two beautiful cuts of filet mignon. They are about 3 inches thick, and you want like a nice marble in there. So before we do that, we're actually going to do them in what the French call a Bordelaise sauce, but I'm going to cheat a little bit. So Bordelaise sauce, usually it's like using some wine from Bordeaux. So if you use some wine from another region, then it'll be called a different sauce. So I got a red wine from the south of France, from Provence. So what am I going to say? Because I'm from Provence, I'm going to say, let's make a provencale Bordelaise sauce to it. So what I'm going to do is that on the cold pan, medium on high, I'm sorry, I'm going to put some butter. And you don't want to burn that butter, but you want it to melt pretty well. And you want it to melt pretty fast too. So I'm going to do black pepper. I'm going to add shallots, one big shallot to it. And then we're going to make it translucent. All right. So while this is going, we're going to prep our meat. So I got two beautiful filet mignon. I'm going to do salt. I'm going to do black pepper on both sides also, salt and black pepper. Make sure that you rub it in, just like that. And we're going to set those two pieces on the side. And what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to take some red wine from Provence. And I'm going to stick it right in there. And I want to actually reduce it. So now to reduce it, we just wait, we just stir it up gently. We don't want to, you don't want to burn it. You want to boil it, but you don't want to burn it. So that's why you can't leave. It doesn't take long, but you can't leave your stove. And it doesn't take long at all. So in the meantime that we're going to reduce that, then I'm saving, like I said, I'm going to add more red wine later, the same amount pretty much, but right now I'm looking for that glaze kind of thing. So right in there, I'm going to actually prep up my dish to cook the two beautiful pieces of filet mignon that I've got. There you go. So you see, like, you can see very well that it doesn't take long to actually, I don't know if you want to follow me. Where's the camera? But it really doesn't take long to actually reduce it. And it's one of those dishes that, I mean, people absolutely love filet mignon to begin with, but it's not complicated to do. I'm going to stick a little bit of rosemary in there because I am from the south of France, so I have to do that. And what I'm going to do with it also is that I'm going to throw a pinch of herbs of Provence right in there. Not much, just a good pinch. And this is a very traditional French sauce, classic sauce. And I heard a while back that they are not getting popular anymore in those new restaurants for some reason, that they cost a lot of money to make because it involves wine and involves actually brandy and all these things. But you can still find a lot of restaurants that still make them. So what I'm going to do with that is that I'm going to add some veal demi-glace. And this is something that it really helps thicken the sauce a lot. And while we're gonna reduce it even more, I'm going to switch stove and we're going to start cooking our filet mignon. So again, the way that I started it, I started on the cold pan with some olive oil. And basically, the reason why I did that is that you don't want to start on a hot oil, a hot pan. I mean, yes, you're going to hear the sizzle, and that's a great thing. You want to hear the sizzle, but sometimes it can be just too much just to put it on a hot pan right away, just like that. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to cover it, and then let's talk about something else. So another dish that I did also for Christmas, if you want to follow me right there with the camera. So I did some polenta. So you can do a polenta the day before, make it like a thick volume, and then you can cut it in round patties. Or you can go to your local store now, apparently, and you can buy it already pre-made. And I cook them in duck fat. So I cooked a duck breast, and basically I got the juice out, just like in one of my previous video. I browned it on the stove, grease down first after coring the grease. I put it in the oven at 400 degrees for 8 minutes. I did rest the breast for 10 minutes, sliced it, and then I served it over polenta, which I use actually the duck fat to actually cook the polenta. And I basically made those polenta patties about 1 inch thick, with a little bit of flour. If you do it before, the night before, then you put it in the fridge, let it cool off, and then you pretty much cut it in circle. And when it's frozen, well, not frozen, when it's refrigerated, it's very easy to cut. You might need to actually put a piece of parchment paper underneath and on top, or some plastic, like a plastic sheet on top of it, and then sometimes it makes it easier to cut. But otherwise, you can just serve it like that. And I served it basically cooked also with rosemary. That's why I got the rosemary right there. And I did a few super fine slices of wild boar, because for me this is still traditional, in a traditional way to cook the mountain. And the way that I like to do it, I got one of my French Madeleine right there, and I did set it in the smallest, thinnest setting that you can get. And I just did a little bit of radishes, just like that. And I think that it makes for a very beautiful dish for Christmas. How beautiful is that? Duck breast for your friends, for your clients, wild boar sausage over polenta, which been pan seared in duck fat. Absolutely beautiful. So like now, let's go back to our filet mignon. Now the problem is that a lot of times people are getting very complicated with a lot of stuff when it comes to medium rare, and stuff like that. So once upon a time, it was a lot more easy to cook for people. Well, some of the people can be quite difficult, but anyway, filet mignon should be cut like a certain way. So another thing that I do to actually thicken the sauce, that demi-glaze, you can take some bone marrow and you can cook it all the way through. All right, but that thickens the sauce, and then you serve it. You serve your filet mignon with the halfway cooked bone marrow. It's very traditional, and it's one of those things to die for. So again, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to add the rest that I wanted to add of wine, same kind of wine. And again, this is like a labor of love, but it's totally something that needs to be appreciated. And I can guarantee you, with the shallots and the reduced wine in there, it's just a magical enterprise. And it's one of those sauces that you got to entertain, meaning that you gotta stir it so it doesn't burn. You want to make that glaze, but you don't want to make it. You want to make it syrupy, but you don't want to make it too syrupy. And all right. Cover this. A second. And the beauty about this kind of stuff is just like, I love to cook for my friends. You have people coming over or not. It's just like great to pull some dishes like this. So another thing that I like to do, again, to get that smoky flavor, is that I just take a few drops and drip them over that filet mignon. And not a lot at all. And it's just giving it that super flavor. All right, so let's talk about something. It's like once upon a time, the French sauces, I believe that they were really syrupy. And I did notice in some of the newer style restaurants, they actually serve the same kind of sauces, but in a lighter way, not as syrupy like that. So this is what I'm shooting for today. It's more because I can otherwise I can just let it reduce and reduce even more, and it to the point that it will become almost like balsamic uh, vinegar, like a really thick uh, like dressing, just like that. Or I can just like leave it just like this, pretty much, and I'm going to take my two fillets, just like that. You're gonna let it rest for 10 minutes because, by all means, if we were cutting it like that, the meat would be just stuff. And we get back to you as soon as this is done. And then we'll slice it and we'll serve it and we'll plate it. All right. So after waiting 10 minutes for the filet mignon to actually rest, for the juices to come back to it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to slice it. There we go. That. And when you actually slice it, you got to slice it at an angle. Yeah, against the grain. Just like that. And then here we go. We have two beautiful filet mignon, absolutely cooked to perfection. And it is something that, trust me, your guests will absolutely enjoy. And to actually serve it in traditional bordelaise, you take the bone marrow chunks and you kind of put it on the meat itself. But it's very important that this red wine sauce that we have actually reduced, we actually put it on the side of the meat. And with the shallots and the herbs of Provence, it is an absolutely terrific dish to appreciate.